Okay, now when you hear my comments on this thing, all my comments that you'll hear are based off of my actual experience with these people, and had them in front of me, had them telling lies about me, telling lies about the whole situation. So when I'm saying criminal, I mean it. I mean, this is my perspective. This is everything that I personally witnessed of these people firsthand. This is none of it slander, and none of it is made up. This is all firsthand thing, and you'll hear some of my language gets kind of like I'll cuss and stuff, and I'm mad about it too, because these people, in my opinion, and what I witnessed, they're criminals. Now, if there was any justice going on in this my case, they sure as hell hit it for me. I didn't see any evidence of any justice, any fair play. All I seen was a partial. They were biased. They were never impartial. All of them were paid off and had it out for me. You could tell if you were actually in court, and that's why they didn't let nobody in court witness this. It was all hush hush behind the doors. Okay, here's a complaint to the Oklahoma Bar Association, 0725-2015, and it's about unethical and immoral conduct. Members of the Bar Association, this is a formal complaint against one of your associates or your professional trade, Mr. Tim Webster, criminal. Webster was a party to Redmond criminal. Her lies and acts of deception as if they were his own. He drooled over the fact, man. I swear to God, they were in heat. He sat in the council with her on September 17th, and at about 1:30, he seemed to agree with every one of her fictitious statements and non-existent evidence. I said, the boy was drooling, but he's a criminal, she's a criminal. He was party to it as she would confer with him, and then she would proceed to commit countless acts of slander, along with malice acts of defamation of character against me. He elated and reveled in every fictitious statement of non-existent evidence was mentioned, and every malice act against truth, justice spoken as if it were his own. As I stated before, when I brought Emily Redmond's unethical and immoral acts to your attention, his total and complete disregard for truth and justice, which is a few of your highest standards, along with integrity, honor, and dignity. Tim Webster, criminal, displayed none of these qualities during the events of unethical and immoral acts, as to which he was very much a party to on September 17, 2014, on or about 1:30. On June 30th, 2015, on or about 9 a.m. in the morning, the same disregard and mockery of truth and justice was apparent when he displayed no regard for any of the highest standards of your profession and trade, as he took the truth and then molested it into an outright lie of deceit and deception. He told of a fictitious document that had no valid integrity, as it was as fake and made up as the charges and accusations against me. This is a document that John Richard Roy had somebody print up and didn't even have a name on who prepared it. This is a criminal with no evidence. Criminals. There's something criminals would do. Not a court of justice, but criminals. Webster, with no irrefutable evidence against me to validate this fake and false charges, lies against me like his associate. Criminal acts, page 2. Whom with they both reveled in his unethical and immoral acts of malice against me, to include the fabrication of non-existent evidence, fictitious documents of supposed damages that were accepted by, and I cross that out because he's not a judge, he's a criminal, Campbell, even though it wasn't valid and the integrity was highly in question. Campbell took it in as evidence. That figures criminal, a criminal act, a paid-off criminal act. This not being a surprise to me, since the whole case and trial was a farce. It was a criminal act, a farce, paid for and brought to you by John Richard Roy of Eagle Suspension. Criminals, all of them. As the only evidence that Tim Webster and Emily Redmond were out of the left field, that had any relevance at all to the charges. So evidence had been fabricated and lies had been told. Criminals. As whatever Campbell, criminal, accepted this fictitious and fabricated documents and the untrue statements as real evidence, acts of a criminal, a true paid-off criminal. That shocked me. This is a formal complaint. If there's any ethics committee that I could turn Webster and Emily into, then yeah, criminals, criminals, criminals. All criminals. Now, Webster didn't argue their bogus case during the prelim or the trial, and that could be due to the fact that he didn't want to steal any of the spotlight or fame generated by these geniuses and his landmark case of theirs. You know, words like trade secret and extortion, I guess this was one of the grand cases in a lifetime, as well as the fame that comes with it. Clark was even telling Campbell about being the first judge in Oklahoma to sit over such a grand case. LOL, laughs out loud. That's true. He was brown-nosing Campbell left and right after he fucking threw me under the bus, that criminal. Or maybe Webster had his hands full, and he had no time for such things like fame and spotlight because he was in charge of a greater task of all, the greatest task of all. And here's my thought of fucking Webster. Damn it, how do you open this box of crowns? Dear Lord, help me. Webster yells out loud and tears in his eyes. And what the fuck is a schematic? Campbell cries aloud. Emily! That's the only thing I can picture in my mind. Because they were all criminals. The whole case was bogus and criminal acts. And they're going to jail for it. Because I'm not going to stop pursuing this until I get justice. And compensation. Yep. Even if I got to sue John Richard Roy, sue Eagle, sue Simply Safe, Mariah, what's her name, Yandel, for committing fraud on her documentation, sue Emily Redmond, sue Tim Webster, and I'd sue Jeff Clark too if he's still alive. I bet you they're all glad he's dead, because I'm sure if you put him in front of a grand jury, he'd have cried, he'd have rolled over on all of them. I plan on suing Bryan County. Yep. Because these criminals are going to pay. Criminals. My name is Jeff Hayes, and don't come to Bryan County because there's a bunch of criminals here. And if this case doesn't show you that, then you're a criminal too. Have a good day now.